Hi, everyone, and welcome to this presentation, Let's Language and English Teachers Seminar. And today at this moment, we have two amazing teachers, Luciana Teixeira and Suzane Veiga, who are going to present what they learned with BRITE, ideas and practice. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to speak English. So, Luciana and Suzane, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Solimar. So as Solimar said, we're going to present some reflections and some ideas we had after taking the BRITE course, which is a very nice opportunity of development for public school teachers around Brazil. Yes, it's not just for those in Rio, but for those in Rio, USBEA is the one is the institution that facilitates the course. So if you're interested in taking BRITE, make sure you keep an eye on USBEA's emails and notices, and maybe on Instagram to know when the enrollment form is going to be open, the selection is going to start. So I'm the first one. If you're not here with me in our first presentation of the day, you don't know who I am. So I am a public school English teacher in Rio. I've been teaching English at public schools since 2010. This year, I'm working with 6th and 7th graders. As I said, I was a BRITE participant and also a BRITE Symposium participant in 2022. Susanna and I were in the same group in both the BRITE course and the BRITE Symposium. Last April, we were both at the BRITE and Open Alumni Seminar in Recife, which was an event with about 85 teachers from around different parts of Brazil, all alumni from BRITE and Open programs, and it was a great opportunity of exchanging ideas and reflecting upon our practice. Now I'm taking the TESOL course as an open student. It's one of the MOOCs available there. And I'm also a public school IT teacher in FIATEC, teaching high schoolers. So when I think of BRITE, I have great memories, yes, but I selected some of them to mention here. And the first one is that BRITE was an opportunity to discuss the national curriculum base we now have to follow in Brazil. Yes, the BNCC. Although there are many discussions on the BNCC, there are people for the curriculum and some against it. It's a reality. Yes, it's there, and we should take it as a starting point to think of our classes and what we are supposed to work with the students. And it also helped me a lot to reflect upon my own practice, which is something we sometimes don't have much time to do. Yes, Julia talked about this in her presentation, the importance of reflecting upon our practice and adapting things which are not working well, and also to continue doing things we're doing great, and etc. Also, it was a moment to discuss 21st century skills and also how to practice, exercise, promote them in classroom, and to contextualize teaching for students. Yes, sometimes it makes a lot of it's a great idea for us, but it doesn't work with the students. We are talking about this on Saturday in our meeting for the last webinar of the Viewing Party Series 20. A teacher mentioned she used Friends with the students and they didn't like. Well, Friends makes a lot of sense to us, yes, and to people from our age, but to teenagers nowadays, not so sure. So contextualize teaching and also adapt it to the reality of students, which is my last point. Now, the most meaningful memory for me, and the one I'm going to talk about today, was the discussion we always had about integrating skills instead of segregating skills. Yes, sometimes we are not very fond of working with one or maybe listening or writing, and then we forget to include we don't work this with the students because we think it's going to be hard, or we think they are not going to cooperate, but it is possible. Yes, I don't know for you, but for me, listening has always been an issue. And it's really a challenge. It's been a challenge for me before BRITE to work with listening, and I generally use it to skip listening activities. So after BRITE, I learned ways to work with big groups, with large groups, and to work with the 4 skills in an integrated manner. So as I told you, I work in Rio. In Rio, we have a material to use produced by the Rio Educa team. I left this QR code here so you can reach this page I'm showing you. We have all the books here, and I'm going to work with the first unit of the 6th graders book. You have a book with all the subjects. English is the last one. So if you read this QR code, you get straight to this material here, and you're going to see that the first 3 pages are the ones I'm showing you. So we are supposed to talk about different types of housing and we have a text about a house for sale and also parts of the house. So when we have a material to guide our practice, we tend to stick to the material as if it was the only thing we had to work with. Now, or we do the other way. Yes, we forget the material because we don't like it, because we think it's not good enough for our students. It doesn't match the reality I have. So the idea is the book, the material offered to us is a guide. Yes, from the book, you can do many different things, and that's what I'm going to show you. So this was the unit I had to work with, but I generally don't start the lesson in the book. So this one, which is about home and types of housing, I started a warm-up activity showing students these covers. They are book covers, and they are generally stories the students know. Yes, but this is for 6th graders. They're just coming. There's a microphone on. They're just coming from a different reality. They had generally 1, 2, 3 teachers at most. They had this story time sometimes. So everything is changing. So at this moment, I'm helping them make the transition between the old way of the old school and the new school they're going to have for the next 4 years, yes, till 9th grade. So I ask them if they know these stories, if they know the title in Portuguese, and teach them the title in English, and also let them tell me a bit about the story. And if they don't know the story, I tell them a bit generally, or maybe they don't know the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, so I tell them. So after this, I work with the students some traditional characteristics of fairy tales. Yes, I introduce this vocabulary, fairy tale, and also some characteristics of it, of them, such as their traditional stories. They're passed down through generations. You generally have antagonists. Yes, you have forests and castles and animals that speak, and also the good and the evil, the value of cleverness, and also the moral of the story. Yes, the consequences for actions and the rewards for virtue. And then as a pair work, I make them talk about their favorite fairy tale. They may use the ones I showed them in the beginning, or they may say a different one. And if they don't know the title in English, they may ask me how to say, I don't know, Pinocchio. How is Pinocchio in English, teacher, for instance? And so they can practice this dialogue with a partner, right? And after this pair work, we have a pre-listening activity in which I teach them some fairy tales vocabulary, especially the ones they're going to have in the listening activity. So the idea of pre-teaching vocabulary and also eliciting what they already know about the the audio they are going to listen, is to guarantee students are going to understand things. But as I told you, listening was an issue for me. And what I believe is that students don't like listening because they think they won't understand the thing from what they listen to. Yes. So if you help them, if they can recognize structures and words in the listening, and they feel like, whoa, I can do it. Yes, it's a kind of it's the sense of achievement, and so they get empowered and they believe themselves. So I taught them vocabulary like once upon a time, happily ever after, and the end, which is going to be, this vocabulary is going to be in the video they're going to listen to. It's a video from YouTube. First, I don't show them the video. I cover the image, and they have to listen to the story, and they have to listen for gist. So they have to get an idea of what the story is about, and they are going to tell me. Yes, of course, I don't expect them to tell me everything in English. This is a public school environment. We have students with different levels, but it's also a time where I can check if they already know some vocabulary. And the story they listen to is this one, The Three Little Pigs. And they generally know the word house and the word pigs, and they generally get a nice gist. So I play the story again, now showing them the pictures, and we talk about the story itself. What is the fairy tale about? And then I have to make sure the students know the word house. They remember the word house because that's an important word for the next activity, which is a while listening activity. So I play the story again, and now they have to listen and find for specific information. They have to find the answers for these 4 questions. So which expression is used to start the fairy tale? And I have already taught them once upon a time. How many times they hear the word house or houses? So they're going to pay attention to the whole story, and they're going to be counting the word house, so that they tell me the number of times it appears in the end. The animals which are presented in the story. So we have the pigs and we have the wolf, and they're going to tell me this too. And the expression used to end the fairy tale, which has been taught in the pre-listening activity as well. As a post-listening activity, I would show students these three types of housing, and I would ask them how many houses the little pigs build, and if they are from the same material. So I would introduce the words straw, wood, and brick. If they don't know, many of my students knew these words, not a straw, but they knew wood and brick because they play video games, especially Minecraft, and they build things from different materials. So they helped me with this. So I'll teach them the different styles of houses, the different materials. Then they would tell me if all people live in houses. Yes. And then we have this discussion on living in houses and apartments. And they also told me about people that live in orphanage, those who live in the prison, and etc. And with a group, in this activity, we managed to create a mental map on their notebook, types of houses, and then they would write. They also talked about trucks and trailers and etc. And then I would show them these different types of houses. What is important here is all these images are from Brazilian places. Yes, when I got them from Google, I asked for images from Brazilian places. And this is the vocabulary I have to show them. So, castle. This one is in Itaipava, here in Rio de Janeiro. And we have a wood house, a farmhouse, and etc. And all these are pictures they could relate to. Even the castle one, which is not very common, and also the silt house. So we could have a discussion on the different types of houses. Then in the book, we also have an image of a website, a real estate website. So we would have a discussion on where we could find different types of housing for rent or sale. There's a text about a house which is on sale on the book too. So I would also start a discussion on that and pre-teach vocabulary. And only then I would reach the book and start the unit. But when students get to this page, they have already seen the vocabulary on the different types of housing, and they have also seen a website on a real estate, and they know what a real estate is. And so we could finally start discussing the activities suggested in the book. So what I'm as a final tip, I know it's pretty fast, we can talk about this, we can continue this conversation in the group. The link is going to be in the last slide. As a final tip for you, I suggest you give your ideas a try. Sometimes we have great ideas, but we don't even try doing that because we don't have technology infrastructure, because the group is big. But we can adapt things and we can do many great things with what we have. Yes, and books are just our starting point for us. So make sure you give your ideas a try. Thank you very much. Sue, are you there?
Sure, I'm here. I was really engaged by your presentation. Guys, first of all, I'm very happy and thrilled to be here today. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm going to call our hostess because I think we're approaching 11.
Sorry, girls, because I've sent a message because your presentations are about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know we have a following presentation at 11 we were supposed to have, but I'm going to try my best.
Minutes. Okay, just to check if I'm wrong. Okay, right.
Okay, you can reach out to me if I'm passing the time settlement. Okay, so guys, let's go. My name is Suzane. Can you listen to me? Yes, the audio is good. All right. So my name is Suzane. I have participated in BRITE course 2 with my fellows, Luciana, who is the best partner ever. We have done many projects together, and we're about to write an article together too. All right. But this is an About Me activity. This is something that I always do with my students. So here's my picture to establish a kind of bonding with the students at the beginning of a semester or a lesson. So it is nice for them to try to guess what you like, what you do, what are your favorite things in the world, and then they can do the same. So you're going to model the activity with yourself as a teacher, and then you ask the students to do the same. If they're younger, they can draw things, and if they are older, they can write phrases or even write essays, I don't know, depending on their levels, okay? So here, for example, I have poems because I'm a poet. I love writing and I love poetry, so I can ask them, what do you think this is related to me? How is it related to me? And then I have two cats because I'm a mother of two, cute cats, and I'm also a teacher. So we have the drawing of a teacher and a student because I love my students. So we can have this kind of partnership with the students. They try to guess who I am, and then we try to guess who they are, and vice versa. And they can also try to guess the other students, their colleagues, right? So let's move on. Okay, so what I learned with BRITE, oh my gosh, I've learned so many things. So before BRITE, I had this sense of being lost and overwhelmed all the time because I had much theory in my mind, but I didn't know how to apply it in a simple way. So if I could, I don't know, try to translate my experience in BRITE with one word, it could be simple. I remember Hugo telling me, keep it simple, keep it simple. Hugo was our mentor in BRITE. So he used to say, keep it simple. And it's really true because you have to be objective and try to, how can I say, try to plan the class in a way that students will have access to it in a free way. So you're going to let things simple and fun and objective, okay? So my classes used to have much TTT, so just a minute, much TTT, there is teacher talking time, and then after BRITE, things have changed. So we had this kind of sense of community and togetherness. I try to focus on integrated skills and also on development skills like 21st century skills. And this is something that really was a game changer for me because I started to plan my classes having these objectives and aims in my mind, and not only to try to improve speaking or just writing in a separate way. So it was more integrated. And after BRITE, lots of interaction and bonding activities, just like about me, group dynamics and collaboration. So guys, keep it simple, fun, and meaningful. So these were major lessons I've learned from BRITE. And here today, we're going to see an activity that I've planned also with Rio Duca material. This is the first unity called Our History, Our Present, Connecting the Dots, from the 5th grade material. Here is one class, so we have about 50 minutes, and it's a reading activity. So my aims here were how to integrate 21st century skills like critical thinking, cultural competency, and civic literacy in my planning, and also knowledge. Come back a little bit, and also how to implement the sustainability goals. And here we have the goal number 10 that is about citizenship and responsibility competency. So here I have a task for you. So pay attention, guys. I'm going to come back to this question at the end of my presentation. So I want you to pay attention on the steps and tell me at the end what students will be able to learn. Okay, so you're going to tell me the aim of my class today, right? So here we have some contextualization in the listing. This is a very important part of the class because students will be able to elicit, to really come to their background knowledge and try to guess the theme of the class, and how they can connect what they already know with what we're going to teach them. So here we have the pictures of 4 Black women, and we are going to ask the students, do you know the name of these women? What do they have in common? So, and here we have a piece of a grammar topic, then we're going to touch in the class. For example, here we have simple present. So they are, so we can give the students chunks. So they can help the students to produce orally. So they can say they are women, they are Black, they are American, Brazilian. So they're trying to guess through this chunk. Okay, and then here we have some activity. So they have to match the name of the women and the pictures. So we can try to do this now in the chat box. So who is Angela Davis? So 1, I can't see, but okay. Angela Davis, so they are going to match with the letter. Rosa Parks, Marielle Franco, that is Brazilian, and Ruby Bridges. Okay, afterwards, in a following class, in a follow-up class, we're going to study specifically the history of these women, okay, as a follow-up exercise. So in this lesson, we will talk about, and then the students come up with, you know, theories. Oh, we're going to talk about Black women. So they're trying to guess the theme of the class in this prediction section. And then we have some pre-reading discussion that is really important for students to come up with ideas and contextualize better. So we're going to ask the students, from 1 to 10, how well do you know the Black history of your country? So probably the students will say, November 20th, that is Zumbi dos Palmares in Brazil. Yeah, so we have, and what about the USA? Do we have a date like that in the USA? Yes, we have in February, because we have already studied about that. Okay. And now you're going to name 3 Black women that you admire, that you look up to, like a role model. And they'll probably say Rebecca Andrade, Simone Biles, because we are living the Olympic Games. All right. And here we have a picture that is important to contextualize, because it's going to make a link. It's going to be a linking bridge to the text of the book. And this painting was produced by Norman Rockwell, named The Problem We All Live With. So here we're going to do some image reading with the students and ask them, who is this girl? Why is the girl followed by men? Who are those men? They look like guards. What are they doing? So we can elicit from the students, and specifically the question, who is she? Okay, because it leads to the name of the person we're going to talk about, that is Ruby Bridges. Obviously, I think they're not going to know who Ruby Bridges is, but that's okay, because we're going to know a little bit more about this girl. So what was the importance of this girl in the history of America and of the United States? So now here we have the passage of the text that is on the students' book. And first of all, we're going to ask the students to circle all the transparent words. And we have already studied what transparent words mean. There are words in Portuguese that are similar in sound and writing to the English ones. So they do this exercise, and then we're going to reflect, how can transparent words help us understand the idea of the text? And of course, you're going to teach the students that this is a kind of tool, a strategy to read a text. Right, and here we have the wild reading activity section. And here we're going to look the physical part of the text. So what is this text, guys? Is it a poem? Is it a recipe? A biography? So they're going to say, biography. It was published in a newspaper, true or false? So they have to look to the omnibox to find the name of the site, of the website. The girl in the picture carries a book. Is she a teacher? No, she's young. Is she a librarian? No, she is you're going to say student probably, hopefully. And then we're going to do a fun activity that is a text scavenger hunt. So they're going to come back to the text and try to find some piece of information. And it could be a game with points. You could divide the students into small groups, and they're supposed to help each other, and they're going to find the answers, and have some points for that, so we can have a prize. All right, can move on. Right, and moving on to the presentation part. Here the focus is on simple present and simple past. So here we're going to show two pictures of Ruby Bridges in the past in 1960 and in the present in 2024. And we're going to show the students. Guys, she was, in the past, Ruby Bridges was 6 years old. So she, a child. She was a child. What about in the present? They're going to try to count the number. Who is good at math here? You can try to guess the age of Ruby Bridges, if you can. So she is years old. Let's try to guess that. She is an adult. Okay? So I'm going to leave it as a task for you. So let's remember, guys. Here we're going to try to use was or is. Ruby Bridges, a student in 1960, in the past. So was or is. So they're try to guess, and then you can ask the students to complete on the board, or you can have a slice of paper so they can have a game too. So these are some ideas. And the post-reading discussion that is about the cultural aspect, the cultural awareness to this specific point of Black history. So the Black History Month in the USA is celebrated in, so they're going to say February. What about in Brazil? November. What was the most interesting fact about Ruby's life? What did you find the most interesting aspect? Imagine you are a child in 1960 in Ruby Bridges. What is your attitude? Is it the same or different from Ruby Bridges? Was she brave? Was she courageous? So you can have more questions in this direction. All right, so here we have one student of mine. As a follow-up activity, we have made some posters to spread and stick to the school's walls. And I divided the students in small groups, and they were supposed to choose one Black woman from the United States or from Brazil's context, and make this poster and then explain to other students about her. Another possibility is to interview a Black woman from your neighborhood or school or family and write down her biography. So this is an alternative exercise. So guys, to wrap up, at the end of the class, students will be able to, this was your task. You can write there. What do you think? What were the goals of this class? Let me see if you really paid attention.
Sorry, Suzane, we are really
I can see. Okay, let's finish.
Other group
so
gave you 10 minutes and it's 12 minutes ahead, and we needed to close and open.
Okay, I'm wrapping up. So students will be able to talk about the Black History Month, so etc. So guys, just to finish, you can do this. Like sometimes we are really afraid to try new things, to change the way you teach, but it is really worth it. So give yourselves a try, give the ideas a try, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzane. I ask you please to stop sharing. People, the other group gave 10 minutes. I know that we are run out of time, so I will just close this, but thank you, Suzane. We have so many good ideas, Suzane and Luciana. But remember, people, the video will be available, so we can watch and rewatch. And in the comments, we can ask questions and we can send emails for one another, okay? So I will close and open for the last presentation from this morning. Thank you.